Hey, let's talk about the $5,000 refund stimulus check that's been making the rounds again. If you've been following this, you know it's called the Doge Dividend, and now it's getting even more attention because both Elon Musk and President Trump have publicly floated the idea of a tax refund straight into your pocket, funded by savings from the government itself. Sounds great, right? But let's be real. What's actually happening here, and is this any closer to reality, or is it still just another idea that sounds good on the news? Before we get into it, if you find these financial updates helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel and ensures you won't miss out on important news like this. So, here's where things stand right now. The Doge Dividend is a proposal that would send a one-time $5,000 check to taxpaying American households. Unlike past stimulus checks, this proposal wouldn't involve new government spending or printing money. Instead, it would come from savings created by the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge. Yes, Doge is a real thing. Despite the name sounding like a meme, it was actually created under Trump's administration as an advisory group focused on cutting government waste and inefficiencies. The idea behind the Doge Dividend is simple: identify wasteful spending, cut unnecessary costs, and then return 20% of those savings back to taxpayers. The plan assumes that if Doge can reach $2 trillion in savings, then around $400 billion would be available to distribute as refund checks. However, here's the big question: how close are we to achieving those savings, and what are the chances this idea actually becomes a reality? First, let's talk about who would qualify. Unlike the stimulus checks from a few years ago, which were sent to most Americans, the Doge Dividend would only go to households that pay federal income taxes. That means if you file a federal tax return and pay more in taxes than you receive in government benefits, you'd be eligible. But if you rely entirely on Social Security, other government benefits, or have no taxable income, you wouldn't receive a check. This difference from previous stimulus measures is significant and is partly why some lawmakers are skeptical about the plan. In fact, the majority of Americans earning under $44,000 a year effectively pay no federal income tax, meaning a large portion of lower-income households would not see a dime from this proposal. Some experts argue that this exclusion makes the plan less inflationary than previous stimulus checks because it gives money back to people who have already contributed rather than injecting new cash into the economy. On the other hand, critics argue that it is unfair to exclude lower-income Americans, who could benefit the most from additional financial support, especially in these uncertain economic times. Now, let's get into the big issue: where is this money actually coming from? Currently, Doge claims to have saved around $65 billion by eliminating fraud, renegotiating contracts, and downsizing certain government programs. But that figure is nowhere near the $2 trillion savings goal needed to make these checks a reality. Even Elon Musk recently admitted that $2 trillion is the best-case outcome and that realistically, they might hit around half that amount, roughly $1 trillion. Things get even more complicated when considering that even if Doge reaches a savings goal, there is no guarantee the money would go toward refund checks. Congress would have to approve any payouts, and even Republican lawmakers have expressed hesitation. House Speaker Mike Johnson recently stated that while the idea sounds great politically, his priority is reducing the national debt, which is currently at $36 trillion. Other lawmakers, such as Senator Ron Johnson and Senator Cynthia Lummis, have echoed that sentiment by arguing that any savings found should first go toward paying down the deficit. Even if President Trump pushes for these checks, Congress ultimately holds the power to decide how the savings are used, and getting major financial policy passed has always been a challenging endeavor. Moreover, when we consider the potential impact on inflation, a $5,000 check could either have a negligible effect if most recipients save or use the money to pay off debts, or it could drive up demand and push prices higher if spent rapidly. This uncertainty is why some economic experts remain skeptical, suggesting that now might not be the right time for any kind of consumer stimulus, even if it is funded by government savings rather than new spending. Additionally, a major hurdle is whether Doge can generate enough verifiable savings to fund these checks at all. While the department has made some progress, multiple reports have highlighted that many of their claimed savings have not been independently verified, and some experts even warn that the numbers may be exaggerated. So, where does this leave us? Right now, the Doge dividend remains merely a proposal. There is no bill, no official government backing, and no clear timeline for when or if these checks might ever be distributed. The savings goal is incredibly ambitious, and without solid proof of where those savings are coming from, it is difficult to gauge the plan's realism. However, public support for the idea is growing, as a new poll found that most Americans support the Doge dividend, with strong backing from both Republicans and Democrats. It is important to note that when an idea gains enough public momentum, lawmakers are more likely to take notice and consider incorporating elements of it into future policy discussions. Expanding on this, many financial analysts suggest that while the current proposal may not immediately result in checks being sent out, it could serve as a catalyst for broader discussions about government efficiency and fiscal responsibility. They argue that even if the full plan is not implemented, partial measures or similar initiatives might be adopted in the future to reduce waste and improve public finances. So, should you expect a check anytime soon? Probably not. Nonetheless, if this idea continues to gain traction and if more rigorous assessments confirm the claimed savings, it is possible that some version of the Doge dividend could eventually be incorporated into future policy discussions. With the current political and economic debates intensifying, this proposal has sparked a wider conversation about government spending, efficiency, and how best to support taxpayers. What do you think? Does this seem like something that could actually happen, or is it just another political idea that sounds good but won't go anywhere? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future updates. Additionally, it's worth considering the broader implications of such proposals on our overall fiscal policy and economic stability, as well as the potential for innovative budgeting practices in the public sector that might emerge from this discussion. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time as we continue to explore these complex financial topics in greater detail.